Hello and welcome to Caffeine Entertainment. I'm Mental9R, your host, and this is the GMX podcast, episode number 8. I've got a few good topics I think lined up for you today, and as always, I will be doing this with my good buddy and cohort, Finn Tintin. And here he is. Welcome to the show, Finn. What's going on, man?
Yeah, everything's good. I'm getting used to that cohort title. That's threw me for a loop again.
Yeah. Well, got to do what you got to do. Got to do what you got to do. I think we have a good show coming up today. It's a little slow in the world of video games, though. Not gonna lie, there wasn't a lot of excitement this past week and a bit, but we got in an extra show, so we're last weekend, but we're back on the normal schedule-ish, kind of, sort of thing.
Yeah,
Maybe
we're like the fishermen. We're dredging up the ocean to look for topics.
yeah,
We gotta keep this dream alive.
Yeah, it was slim pickings, but I think we got enough here to go with anyway, and I think we'll have a fun time. So why don't we dig in and get started? Ready at Dawn is rumored to be getting shut down. This one is a little disappointing, I think, because of course Finn and we just played that game, the wonderful The Order 1886. If you didn't catch that video, by the way, you should go back and check it out. Game was pretty good. Definitely worth a replay if you have it sitting in your backlog. It's definitely worth a first-time play, so definitely take a look at that one. Yeah, The Order 1886 and God of War developer Ready at Dawn reportedly shut down. I don't know that this has been confirmed yet or anything, but this is the last article I found on it. And I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit disappointed. I hate seeing any studios get shut down, and especially ones that I actually enjoy the work that they've done. The God of War they did, I think, was all PSP related. I think you read that earlier, you mentioned that earlier, Finn, on when we were talking before the show. But yeah, it's disappointing to see. I never played any of the PSP games because I just did not own a PSP, but they also were responsible for Daxter. The game rings a bell, never actually played it, but what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, as you say, I think in general it's just sad. The economy is tough right now for everyone.
It is.
So this is just. I don't think there's anything fundamentally wrong with the games industry other than, well, probably they grew quite rapidly, a lot of these companies, and they invested quite heavily during COVID when everyone was playing video games. And now that is probably back to normal, so to speak. It looks like a steep decline, but it's probably just going back to where it was before, there or thereabouts. I'd be interesting to look at a graph in that 1 week and see how things are trending. But definitely, when no one had anything else to do, they were playing a lot of video games. And now I think we're coming out the other end of that. And, there's too many people making video games for the amount of people who want to consume them, I guess. But I agree with you. It's always sad to see good people lose their jobs. And I don't have a lot of experience with what they've done other than The Order, but based on that, they were a talented bunch of people.
Yeah, it's disappointing. But like you say, I think it's just, I agree 100%. The economy's slow. I don't think we've seen the worst of it. I think, not to be all cheery and everything, but things will probably continue to get worse before it gets better. I hope all these people that are affected by this land on their feet. It does sound like a lot of them, or at least part of them, were being looked at for other roles within Meta. So, again, you mentioned this during our pre-conversation, but I didn't realize they were owned by Meta either. I thought they were more of an independent. But I guess there's fewer and fewer of those these days. I think it's tough to survive out there, but
I had to stifle a giggle there because when you were saying things are going to get worse before they get better, things are pretty bad. I was thinking, oh my God, he's still affected by Edith Finch.
Yeah. Well, it was probably the most depressing game I've ever played in my life. So yeah, if you that show will be coming out probably a little ahead of schedule because it was pretty short. So I think we'll drop that video on Tuesday. I may change my mind on that, but that
If
might come
Mike
Tuesday.
can make it through the next week, he'll publish it.
Yeah, I might if I can make it till Tuesday to actually schedule it. I might have to schedule it tonight just because. Um, just kidding. Anyway, why don't we move on to the next topic? I don't really have a whole lot more to say about that one. And this one is interesting because I feel like it's a big case of deja vu. It looks like Warner Brothers is once again looking to sell off its game division, or at least the report claims this. It falls into the rumor category. Those that are follow Xbox and the gaming industry in general will remember there was a time it was heavily rumored that Microsoft was going to be buying Warner Brothers and was in discussions with them, and of course that had the more intense Xbox fans. I'll try to stop using the word fanboys, but the more intense fans were pretty excited about the concept of Batman IP becoming first party for Xbox. I wonder now if they would have the same enthusiasm that we've seen some of the effects of the ABK purchase and how Microsoft is moving more third party with putting their games on both Switch and PlayStation. But you could only imagine a purchase like this would further move that agenda forward. What are your thoughts, Finn? I mean, I'm not surprised. Suicide Squad lost a reported $200 million. Actually, they also mention here that cost the company $200 million in revenue. It did not do well, which is weird. And they were kind of doubling down on that strategy too after Harry Potter was very successful. That game sold way beyond expectations and did really well. And then Suicide Squad comes out and it's a complete stinker. Oddly, most of the people I know that played it seemed to like it, but it just did not sit well, I think, with the way they disposed of the Justice League in that game. So, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Yeah, again, it's another sign of a tough economy. I think. What's staggering to me is that you can even lose 200 million on a game. That I guess you're spending 200 million on it. At least if you're losing 200 million, vast
Yeah,
amounts of
assuming no
cash.
one bought it.
Yeah, like I said, and since you know people who played it, at least one of them bought it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's staggering. But
Well, actually, I think, yeah, I do know one guy that bought it. The others, I think, played it in Game Pass. I think it's in Game Pass now, if I'm not crazy.
Okay,
But I
but
don't
well,
know.
they made money out of that as well. Presumably, I assume Xbox gives money to the publishers when they put their games on Game Pass. I don't know how it works, but yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
again, it's interesting. I love the Batman games. I was not
Yes.
the I saw the Suicide Squad movie. Uh, it was okay. Like I find that the everyone, and I will use the word fanboys, whether it's Marvel fanboys or Star Wars fanboys or DC fanboys,
Go
everyone,
evil.
yeah, I know, like anyone who is that passionate about stuff, they kind of leave logic at the door when it comes to criticisms, right? So the the Suicide Squad movie wasn't a great movie, granted, but man, when you look at some of the hate it got, it's like, hey, like just relax. It's just a movie. So
Yeah.
I don't know how bad the game was or was not, but yeah, it's too bad. Hopefully, we haven't seen the last of the Batman games because I love that series.
Well, I mean, I guess it's easy to do enough to do a reboot in the world of multiverses that we have now. They could definitely bring Batman back, but I mean, in the Suicide Squad game, he was killed, so
Ah,
seems a little yeah. Anyway, different game, different world, I guess. But yeah, it's sad to see like I guess if I'm thinking about this, I would have way sooner just had another Batman game. And I think that's probably the feelings of most of the people that are upset with Suicide Squad and or didn't like Suicide Squad. But I mean, it was pretty widely shredded. I
Yeah,
think it was in the 60s for Meta,
I mean,
which,
a poor game is a poor game, but I wouldn't say that I would prefer another Batman game. It's easy to say that now after it failed, but in the same way that people wanted another Avengers movie, but they got Black Panther, but then they love Black Panther, right? So I don't know.
yeah,
It just probably made a game like many other games was not fit for prime time when they brought it out anyway. Is my guess.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. I heard that the end game for Suicide Squad was pretty cruddy. They still have plans. They have released some DLC for it that has come out after the fact, and it just doesn't sound like it really helped that much. But like I say, the people that actually played it seemed to think it was fun. Did they were they responsible for Gotham Knights too? Because that game did really crappy and got beat up a bit for being rather thin on content, and the environment wasn't really great. And I played a bit of that, and yeah, I think I'd have a hard time arguing against that premise that it just wasn't very good.
Yeah.
And I played it on PC, so I didn't have the same complaints around frame rate because that was a big complaint. It was a 30 FPS game, but it was another one that was very poorly optimized on the CPU side of things. As far as I know, they never released a performance patch to fix that. And on console, it's so important to utilize all the threads that are available on the CPU side, and it just didn't do it. So I guess it is what it is, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they get sold. Hopefully, it's not someone like Tencent that picks them up. I Man, it would be bizarre for me to. I think if Microsoft bought them, just because another publisher, that would be
Yeah.
weird. And I don't know that they would be able to pass that through regulatory approvals because they are pretty big now. Um, but on the other hand, too, I don't think Sony has the money to pay for them. They seem to
Hmm.
be hurting pretty bad too lately with stuff. And you look at the Bungie situation and layoffs in general. I think everybody's hurting. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, okay. Well, let's move on to the next topic. And hey, speaking of PlayStation, there they are right there, the nice little PlayStation symbol right or emblem or word on the on the screen, whatever. Anyway, this one's another one. We talked a bit about the Xbox hardware sales and the trouble they were having, where they were down 42% year over year. Well, it's not all roses and bubblegum for Sony either, as their year on year sales take a bit of a hit as well. Not as bad. It's down 27% roughly um, in their last quarter versus 2023's numbers. And then they're also, if you look at their first quarter this year, second quarter, they were down 46% off their first quarter. So again, it's not roses and bubblegum in any way, shape, or form for Sony. It's seems to be hitting everyone equally. And I just think it's the economy
Hmm.
is having a big impact here. But the other thing I think that's really impacting console sales is just the prices haven't come down. This is normally, I mean, we're coming up on 4 years in, right? Release was November in 2020, so we're a few months away from the 4 year mark, and dear Lord, by now you would see consoles about half price. And it's
Yeah.
just there's been no declines, and with a slow economy and a lot of people getting put out of work, who are they selling them to now? The hardcore fans have already bought them, you
No,
know.
it's all true. I think that um, for a while it was so even hard to get your hands on a PS5,
Yeah,
and I guess maybe they're making hay while the sun shines. I guess by not bringing the price down, but it does seem to be the as you said the market for the it's hard to call it an early adopter after 4 years, but a market for people who desperately want a PS5, they've got one. So
Yeah.
you got to appeal to the people who kind of, yeah, if it was like $400, maybe I'd buy one, or if it was $300, maybe I'd pick one up, or whatever. You got to appeal to those people at this point. What I found interesting, well, first, two things. Number one, like Xbox, although I think Xbox are in worse shape, honestly, but like from a console perspective, but like Xbox, the console sales are down, but the gaming divisions are still doing well. So similar
Yeah.
story there.
Yeah.
Um,
Right here.
and the other thing I found interesting, and I don't see it in this article here, maybe we read it somewhere else, or maybe I'm just missing it, is that some genius from Sony was like, well, it's near the end of this particular game cycle or game console cycle. I'm like, oh yeah, really? It's first I've heard about that. And if it is, where's your next console? Because you don't seem to be ready. So to be saying that it's in wind down mode, I think it's a bit premature in my mind, at least. Anyway.
Yeah, well, especially considering that, all the rumors around the PS5 Pro. I mean, as far as I know, that's still not confirmed by Sony that this console is indeed going to be released this fall. So maybe that's what he was talking about. They've got the Pro coming, and maybe he's expecting people are waiting for the Pro. There's a possibility. I mean, I'm sure the Pro will sell.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely going to be people that buy it, or be people that will buy it. But if you look at the PS4 Pro, that came out at the middle of the generation. So if we look at
Yeah.
that and they do drop it this year, does that mean there's 4 more years of PS5 after this, and they're not
Can you
going to renew
just
till 2028?
can you just scroll down a little bit there in that article?
It's the end of it
Uh,
here.
okay. Yeah, I read it somewhere that the guy was talking about the end of the. Oh yeah. Well, rapidly middle of its life. Yeah, definitely. I read something from someone at Sony saying that it was near the end of the cycle, which again didn't make sense to me. But maybe I'm making it all up. Maybe it was a dream.
I do remember you mentioned that pre-show, but I don't know. This article, I don't think, says anything about it. I know we saw a few different articles
Yeah.
that were talking about it. It might have been the Game Rant one, but they had sort of not what I would call accurate information about the
Yeah.
Xbox situation. So we opted to go with this article to remove that confusion. But
Okay.
uh,
Yeah.
anyway, it's not all rosy, like I say, for PlayStation either. And it's just a tough market out there, I think. And in short of serious price cuts, with maybe we'll get this fall, like maybe Black Friday or something will be the start of some real declines in console pricing. I've said it a million times. I can't believe they're costing them this much to build, that they need to still be charging what they were 4 years ago. Every single thing in the computer
Yeah.
world has come down in price.
No, for
That's
sure.
just the facts.
I think the other thing that will drive it up as well, a price cut for sure. I think a marquee game coming out like Grand Theft Auto 6 will probably generate a bunch of console sales as well for people who wouldn't otherwise buy a console. But there hasn't been a lot of those in the last while.
Yeah, yeah. Well, time will tell. I don't think Sony's in trouble or anything like that. That's for sure. I think it could just be some people holding off, waiting. If they're looking for a console, they've heard about the Pro. Maybe they're waiting for that, but we'll see. I do think it's just a sign of the times, and a weak economy combined with still very high prices on console hardware. We'll see. But next up, we have another Microsoft story. And once again, they're in the news, this time more about Game Pass and the potential to add a couple more tiers. We were talking about Game Pass not too long ago, and some of the changes they've already made, which seem to make things, on one hand, maybe a little bit clearer, on the other hand, more confusing, because they now have tiers that don't include day and date games. But it sounds like they're contemplating adding an ad-based tier and a cloud-only tier. So, I mean, we can tackle the logic on this, I guess, a bit, but I could see an ad-based tier potentially being successful if the price is right. Um, I just, we talked about it. The idea of having to sit and wait for an ad to play before you can play your game, it's not appealing to me, that's for sure. But Game Pass, in some respects, has lost its appeal to me already, just because of the price increases. And increasing the price over 50% in a year in Canada is getting a little excessive to me. Um, but ads, maybe if the price was right, maybe I could listen to an ad for a minute before the game's play starts. I don't know. What do you think, Finn?
I think that gives me hives thinking about it. I mean,
Yeah.
like well, when I was growing up and watching TV, probably in the '90s, and I mean, I guess you were used to ads and stuff, and probably was the same for you in the '60s.
Yeah.
But
Well, I mean, it was black and white back
yeah,
then,
yeah,
so it was
you have to
different.
wind it up. Um,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
no, it's I was mentioning to Mike before the show, or mental, before the show, that
Hey, it
like
wouldn't be a GMX show if you didn't call me Mike at least once.
yeah, true that's like my catchphrase at this point.
Yeah.
But it's I subscribe to Disney ad version of Disney for a couple of months. They had a promotion. It was like $1.99 a month. I was like, oh, I'll give it a spin, see if they have anything new since I last subscribed. And it was painful. It was really painful. Now, having said that, you can probably do it in such a way that it isn't too bad. I just find ads quite intrusive in my certainly my entertainment experience. And I think watching movies and TV shows is bad. I can only imagine if an ad popped up in the middle of a game, I'd probably freak out, But I'm
Yeah.
sure they're going to try to do it in a way that makes some money, but at least isn't that bad. But again,
Yeah.
we've said it more than once. Xbox can screw things up pretty good, so like they can probably find a way
Yeah.
for it
We
to
are
completely
talking
ruin
about
the
that.
gaming experience. Like you're lining up a shot as a sniper, and then it's like, have you heard about the new antihistamine medication? And I'm like, oh my god. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't like the idea. If it gets more people playing games, I guess I'm okay with it. It wouldn't be for me.
Yeah. No, and it's. I think the fear is the same as always. They'll start out at a price if there's a good adoption rate for the ad based. Next thing you know, it'll go up a buck, or it's only $1, and it can it seems like a slippery slope to me. I do like the idea of the cloud only tier
Mm-hmm.
for somebody that's only going to be playing on their Fire Stick or Fire TV. Uh,
What is that again? Says the CEO of Microsoft.
yes, yes. It makes sense if they can offer it for less. I think it's a good thing. And still have an option to buy games or play games you own maybe from previous consoles and stuff. I think that's where Microsoft is a little bit behind, because they still, as far as I know, you can't just stream the games that you already own from their cloud. You have to do it from your console. So,
Right.
if they can fix that type of stuff, maybe the stream only would make sense, even if you've got a console. But you want to have that experience to take with you. Your Fire Stick. You're going on vacation somewhere, but you might want to play the odd game in an evening. Maybe it makes sense for that as well. But
Yeah, the stream only option. I don't have a problem with that one. It could be a good thing, as you say. Again, brings more people into the gaming world, which can only be a good thing, in my opinion.
yeah, exactly. This was one that we actually didn't see before, but potential for a friends and family plan for the service. That would make me a lot happier, because I was paying for two Xbox Ultimate ones because I have 2 kids, and then there's me, and occasionally my wife likes to play with us too. So, the wife and I had a share, and the kids had a share. If there was a family plan, as long as it's not $50, because then you don't save anything. Uh, that might be nice. Like if I
Hmm.
could get it for $40 a month, well, now it's starting to get back into the ballpark that I was before, and it starts to be a little bit more appealing to try and keep something like that going. But hopefully, they get serious on this front and can come up with something that's pretty reasonable. I doubt it'll be the $24.99 because I think it was good for the subscriber plus 5 people, if I remember right, when they were running the beta.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't see them doing that now. That for just the a single game share, you're paying $20 a month. It seems hard to imagine they'd give you a bunch more. But yeah, okay. I think we can move on to some more cheery news, something that will make everybody happy. Oh wait, no, maybe not. It's just been that kind of week, people. Things aren't looking great across the board, but maybe this will make Xbox and PlayStation gamers feel a little bit better when even the almighty Nintendo is suffering from this slowdown as well. That's a fairly significant drop
Hmm.
in profits, and it does mention the plunging of the sales on the Switch, which the thing's been out forever. Not surprised, and it hasn't had a price drop either. And then maybe that's why Microsoft and Sony, now that I'm thinking about this, maybe they're just thinking, well, if Nintendo doesn't have to lower their price, why should we? I don't know, but
Yeah, I'm not a
it's
Nintendo
pretty
guy at
crazy.
all, as you know. Although my kid has pestered me about buying a Switch for him, and my my first take is interesting what you said there. My first take when I looked at it and I looked at the price of it of the OLED version, I'm like, Jesus, that's expensive. That is an
Yeah,
expensive piece of kit for what it is. I
yeah,
kind of expected it to be around $200 Canadian or something, where it was more
yeah,
upwards of $400. And I was like, whoa,
yes,
that's pretty harsh. So,
yeah,
but what's interesting to me about the article is, like we said earlier, like the economy is soft, everyone is hurting a little bit. Somehow it seemed like Nintendo were immune from all of this. They seem to be just living in their Mario castles in the sky, and everything was so fluffy and wonderful. But yeah, apparently not. Apparently they're having tough times too. I've never heard it in an article before referred to as the aging Switch. It always seemed to be somewhat immune. Like I thought it was old, but everyone else seemed to think if it ain't broken, why fix it, right? But
yeah,
I guess maybe it is a little bit broken. But I would
yeah.
love this to come down in price because I know my kid wants to play Mario, my kid wants to play Pokemon, and unlike Xbox, if you want to play these games, you got to get a Nintendo. That's the only way to do it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I think there's a faded Nintendo did not release blockbuster games in June quarter. So yeah, I mean, even their software sales fell 41% year over year,
And that's
which is
4.1, is it?
uh, okay. Maybe is no, that says 41. I think
No, is it? Okay.
I don't. There's no decimal point in it, and
My screen is not clean then.
yeah, no, that you probably have some dirt on there, but no, it's 41% year
Oh,
on year. So yeah, they're definitely feeling it too. And I mean, there is again, Switch 2 we know is coming. It did get delayed till next year. Maybe they've got a bunch of Switch units that they want to push out. There's probably going to be sales coming around in a Christmas time frame, I would guess, if they are indeed planning a 2025 release for Switch 2. But it's not surprising. I mean, the hardware is aging. It is at a point now where some of the newest games you're seeing can see pretty serious frame drops. I mean, people complaining about it dropping into the teens at times and into the low 20s for FPS. Definitely not an experience for me, but my daughter doesn't seem to mind. She loves her Switch and plays on it regularly. So
Yeah.
More power to them, I guess. The longevity there is impressive. It's over 7 years old, and they're going to stretch it into the 8 time frame. So it's impressive longevity for something that I distinctly remember calling a glorified tablet when it first came out. So
Mhm.
I still kind of have that opinion, but it's pretty impressive piece of kit for what it is. So alrighty, well, why don't we move on to our final topic of the show, and that is Borderlands the movie is absolutely hated by everyone. This has just been nothing but good news
Mhm.
for the entire time we've been talking. Now coming up just over 30 minutes.
So
Nothing but rainbows and butterflies
you're not
everywhere.
allowed to play Edith Finch before any shows in the future.
Yeah, oh, that game, I tell you, that was a beauty. It was a beauty. But this particular line right here actually made me laugh a bit. On Rotten Tomatoes, the movie is currently sitting with a 0 rating. You read that right, 0 out of 100. I don't know. When I saw the trailers for it, I thought they did a really good job on making it look like Borderlands. You know, the
Mhm.
costumes were good, the environment looked good, but I just remember watching the and thinking, what the heck is this, really? And so I'm not surprised that Borderland fans it's not clicking with them, because even from the trailers, it just didn't look like it was going to be good to me. I don't know, what do you think, Finn? Same opinion on that, or did you see it differently?
Yeah, you know what? Like, it's not that long ago where, by default, you would expect a video game being made into a TV show or a movie to be bad. You know, like, but there's been some wins, and obviously we talked about the Fallout TV show not so long ago. I know you liked the Halo series as well. But yeah, I guess I'm never that surprised when they screw up a video game. Like, video games I don't think always naturally lend themselves to this media. You have to screw around with it until it fits. And I'm not that surprised. I love the Borderline games. I would like it. I like the show to be good, but I'll probably still
Yeah.
watch it if it flies by my radar. If I'm not sure where it's going to be, if it's going to be on Amazon Prime or Netflix at some point, but I'll probably watch it, irrespective.
I will, out of curiosity, for sure. I mean, like you, enjoyed the video games. Put in probably over 200 hours on the first two each. I don't know the exact numbers. The third one I didn't play quite as long. I probably, 60, 70 hours on the third Borderlands. But
I think I didn't play the
yeah, I
third one
don't
at
know.
all. I think I completely burnt myself out on the second one, so that
Yeah, you had a bit
uh,
of a gambling addiction in that one.
yeah, yeah. I was on the
Playing
slots.
those slots.
Yeah. Hey, I have what would you say, like an obsessive personality. It's true, um, but it's what gives me good attention to detail, but also makes me somewhat neurotic. But yeah.
Yeah.
So after the second one, I was like, okay, I got to be done with this for a while. Otherwise, I'll lose my house and lose my family, and I gotta look at some other things as well. But no, I love the Borderlands game, especially the second one. And well, as I say, I'm gonna check it out regardless. But it's and then I'll probably start playing Borderlands 3, and I'll be like hounding you to join me or whatever.
Yeah, but maybe. But I'm looking at some of these comments. The movie has dragged us back to a time when studios used to make these with all the grace and acuity of a drunk person attempting to place a 3 a.m. chicken nugget order.
Well, that's what I'm saying to you. Like, if you think back
It's
to,
like,
like, the Mortal Kombat movies or the Street
yeah,
Fighter movies, like, by default, you would expect, if they're
man,
making a video game, they would suck. It's only been
yeah,
fairly recently where you can actually expect some good games or good shows. Like, and I know, like for example, The Witcher is based on the books, but it's also like inspired by the video games. You can tell, and
Yeah.
that was a good show. At least the first season, which is the only one I saw, that was a good show, right? So
Yep. Well, it's definitely not something I'm going to go see in the theater, but
no,
if it shows up wherever, Netflix, Amazon Prime, or any one of the streaming service I happen to subscribe to, I'll definitely, I'll be suckered into watching it, and maybe I'll even make it through the end. Who knows? Who knows?
yeah.
But
With its 0% Rotten Tomatoes score, if you go to see the movies, I think you'd have to wear your baseball cap and a trench coat to disguise yourself, right?
yeah, don't let anyone see you going in from the sounds of it. But I think that's it. I think that's it. Yeah, definitely not a cheerful week with the news, but maybe a little bit of good news on if you're into more Game Pass tiers. I guess that's good news. Uh, but yeah, Borderlands sucks. The Order 1886 dev is shut down. Yeah, it's an exciting week. Exciting
Mm.
week. Anything you'd like to add? Final thoughts with
How can I
35
top
games?
that? How can I top that ray of sunshine?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm just so cheery. I'm cheery. All right, man. This is your favorite part of the show. Let them have it.
As
Where
ever,
can they reach you?
Fintintin on PlayStation Network, Xbox, and Steam, and Fintintin with a one in it for the X platform.
Right on. And I am at Mental9R on X. You can find me as Mental9R on Steam, PlayStation, Xbox, and just about anywhere else you could possibly play games. If you stuck with us this far and you enjoyed the video, with all its cheerfulness and upbeatness, is that a word, upbeatness? I don't even know. Regardless of that, I'll make up a word. It doesn't matter. It was a great show. You know it. I know it. We all know it. Everybody knows it. It was wonderful. It was awesome. There's nothing better. We all agree? Maybe not.
Mm.
Anyway, hit that like, subscribe, follow, wherever you happen to watch us. If it's on Rumble or YouTube, we always appreciate it. Thanks so much for being with us. I'm Mental9R. This is Caffeine Entertainment. Don't forget, it's time to wake up and play some games.